Yeah, g'day guys, it's me. I'm just going to explain my trip in a few videos. I wasn't going to. I did. Let's go spin around. I did do some videos originally, like 4 months ago or whatever. I'll straighten it up a bit. Let's see if I can get up so I don't look like I'm on a lean. Alright, yeah, I did some videos about like 4 or 5 months ago and whatever, like throughout the trip, to explain my trip and what I was doing and all that sort of stuff. And I had to delete them because I was caught by, Parks Victoria, trapping animals. So I did a factory reset to get rid of all the videos I had that would sort of condemn me for, trapping animals in the bush. I didn't know if they could check my phone or not, and I wasn't going to take any chances. I'll go through that a bit later. So basically, I'm doing a canoe trip down the Murray River. I started at Yarrawonga on the 6th of November, and I am currently at a place called Blanchetown. I'm about 3 or 4 k's out of Blanchetown. It's about 7 o'clock in the morning, and it is I think it's the 13th of April. I can't remember. Doesn't matter. About the 13th of April, roughly. I know it's pretty close. Just paddling down the river nice and slowly. I'm not in any hurry. I'm just cruising. Right, now, hopefully you can see me okay. I think I've got my screen quite dark. I might brighten up just a little bit so when it gets a bit lighter, I'll see. Oh, yeah, it's not too bad. It's pretty good, actually. Alright, so paddling down the river. So I've basically been on the river for about 5.5 months, roughly. I have been doing about 40 to 50 kilometres a day, up until about sort of 3 or 4 weeks ago, when sort of winter's starting to set in a bit. So I'm getting shorter days. Daylight savings, that didn't affect me because you've still got the same amount of hours in the day, contrary to what some people think. Oh, you're taking 1 hour off me. I've heard people sit there and talk about why doesn't summer have 25 hours when winter's only got 23? I've actually had somebody say that in one of the factories I worked in. So there, that's the brains of some people we got on this planet. Right, so paddling down the river, I generally get about the 35-ish now hours a day, kilometres a day. No, yeah, 35 kilometres per day. But I reckon that before the end, we'll get down to about sort of, even right at the very end, when I get into the now, because it gets really windy down now. I've seen videos, and sorry, I thought there was something behind me. There was. I set off at about 6:30 this morning, so I'm only half an hour down the river, and there was somebody already on a ski boat. As you can see, it's quite bright, so it's more than bright enough to use a ski boat, but it's 6:30 in the morning, man. People are trying to sleep. This is one thing I've noticed with all this camping, and very little respect for other people on other campsites. Last night we had people playing loud music. You're out in the middle of the bush, man. I just don't get this freaking music out in the middle. I mean, I've got music going when I'm paddling, I've got music, but I've got nice and quiet, just in the background, because I'd still rather hear that. But I like to have the distraction. In fact, I'm going to go on record as saying that if I didn't know how I had the music, I probably wouldn't have finished. I got to about a bit of deviating a little bit, and that'll happen a bit. But I just want to explain the trip. This is a major part of the trip. By the time I'd gotten to getting towards Mildura, I was freaking over it. I was absolutely just the paddling, not nature. I love nature. I love this bush, man. Actually, just give me 2 seconds. Actually, I'll try and stay straight. I'll stay straight so I can see both sides. All right, let's spin this. Right, that's that side. So we've got big rocks, and they're about 3/4 of the size of what they can be. They're not quite as big as what they can be. Those rocks. There's that does get bigger. All right, so that's the river down in front of me, and that's what I've got on that side. Right, you can hear the birds going. It's just freaking brilliant. I love it. I don't want this to end. I want it over and done with. I want the paddling side of it over and done with, but I don't want it to end. I never ever want this to end. I could camp like this. I mean, admittedly, I'm a little bit over the camping side of things. Not being, I don't have to be perfectly clean, but I'm using river water to have a wash. It's still just No, you don't always. I mean, even though I'm using soap, that's better. Even though I'm using soap, I'm actually using proper soap. What is it? Imperial Leather. Something my old man used to use, and I've always used it. I just like the smell. It makes me feel clean without smelling flowers. Makes me feel like a man. Makes me smell like a man. I'm bored. Yeah, so what was I talking about before I interrupt? Oh yeah, the music and campers, mate. New Year's Eve, I was in a Chuka for New Year's Eve. Understand that, fair enough. Yeah, have a bit of fun. That sort of stuff. Australia Day, understood that. Have a bit of fun, whatever. That's fine. You know, but just normally, I don't. Although it was Red Gum, he was playing Red Gum, so he had a walk in the light green, or I was only 19. So he let that rip. So the music was all right, but just a little bit. I suppose in the end I've gone, yeah, okay, that's not too bad. But when he first put it on, I got freaking hell, man. But he had a couple of Red Gum songs like ASIO and all that, so it turned out to be all right. It turned out to actually be all right. Now I have my music going, but I don't have it loud enough for me to hear. I just want to softly in the background, so that every now and again I can sort of sit there. And I've had Kevin Bloody Wilson on a few times. When I sort of get there, get really, really sore, and because I'm not going to lie to you, I'm knackered. I'm absolutely knackered. I've paddled. I've got 280 odd kilometres to go, roughly 270, I think it is. 270 kilometres to go, right? So I think that's going to take you about another 10 days. From now, I think I've got another 10 days to finish it off. I have sat there and paddled 1,730 odd, or 20 odd Ks. So I'm knackered. I'm absolutely knackered, absolutely tired as. I can't, yeah, I got to Mildura, and I came up with an idea of putting music on my phone. Now, I didn't have any music on my phone. I don't have internet reception or anything like that, so I couldn't get music onto my phone. I came up with an idea of getting to Mildura. Actually, I'll explain that later too when I do the things. Yeah, so I got to on the way to Mildura. I sat there and thought, oh, hang on, I've got heaps of music on my phone. It's too bad I can't get that onto my computer. It's too bad I can't get that on my phone. And then I sat there and I thought, oh, hang on, what if I get to Mildura and I plug my phone into an outlet somewhere and just transfer the music across? I don't need my computer, but I can transfer it across onto my phone, and then I can just have it playing. And that's what I did. And I reckon, I honestly, because I was getting to the point. Give me 2 seconds. Sorry, I had to blow my nose. I reckon the first time I blew my nose, I reckon David Rattenborough gone, hang on a second, I don't know. I didn't know Australia had walruses in the bush. It echoed right through the freaking forest. Echoed right through the bush, man. It doesn't do it here. I thought it would with these big rocks. I've got these big cliffs. I thought it would bounce off there and go all the way through, sort of thing. But it may go downward, river. It may go down river. I have absolutely no doubt about that. But yeah, I don't care. Doesn't matter. I haven't had hay fever for this trip. Have not had hay fever at all for this trip. At all. Like a little bit of runny nose, but I reckon I'm coming down with a bit of a cold actually, more than hay fever for my. In the morning I'm feeling a little bit chesty. Hock up a couple of bits of phlegm here and there. But otherwise, I have not had hay fever at all. Not once, actually. Not once have I sat there and had really scratchy eyes. Very tiny bit. But that's literally only a couple of times, and literally nothing. No one, I mean, anyone that knows me knows I get it pretty badly. I've had days off work because of it. And that's true, like I've had to actually take days off work because of how bad my hay fever's been. So, yeah, that's how bad I used to get it. And it's put me in hospital once. It actually put me in hospital once. No, just in the emergency room, but yeah, I had to go to hospital once. Back when I was about sort of 15, 16, 17 or something. It got me that bad. Yeah, so when I got to Mildura, I transferred the music across, and, well, it's not really sailing, but I was going to say, smooth sailing ever since. And that was meant to be pun intended, but yeah, no sail, but yeah, you know what I mean. It was smooth sailing. It was just, I haven't looked back since. Yeah, haven't really looked back since at all. All right. So I've waffled on a little bit about that. So I will go on record of saying that the music saved this trip, I reckon. I don't know if I would have fought through, but it would have been miserable. I was getting to a point where I'd been paddling for about 3 or 4 hours for the day, because at that stage, I was still getting like 11 and 12 hours in the day. Yeah, I've been able to paddle, right? And, I wasn't paddling that long every single day, but on days where I wanted to, or I sort of needed to, so I needed to get down to get more food or whatever, then I had to put the hours in, the extra couple of excuse me. The extra hour, I just had breakfast, so baked beans again. Actually, I'll tell you what, I've been living off baked beans for the last month, and because I don't have to cook it, I can just sort of, I've got some water on my phone. I'm trying to, you'll see me shake, just give me 2 seconds, I'll get a serviette and wipe it off. This might, I've got to be careful. I accidentally press buttons on the phone. Even water. If you drip water on a button on a phone, it'll do whatever the button is supposed to do. Like the push button on the screen itself. Like I don't know what they call it, the touch screen. If you drop water on the touch screen button, then it'll operate it. It'll operate that button. Pain in the ass happened. Alright, so Mildura saved me because of the music. The music saved me, absolutely. Because like I was saying, you get to about, because I don't really keep an eye on the time. I got no interest in the time. I'd use the sun to see what time to finish. I can't tell the time by, I can tell the time by the sun roughly. If I know what time sunset is, I can, and I do along here obviously, because, look, it's just 5 months on here. I just get to know. Actually, I had to learn it a little bit for cooking at home when I was on the camp. I got to learn how close the sun was when it was about an hour and a half, 2 hours, because I'd sit there and didn't want to be cooking in the dark because I had to keep my battery power for my lamps for winter, right? Because I thought I was going to be doing winter. I'll get through that in a second. Did I tell you I got caught by rangers? I'm cutting it short. I don't know. I'll go through it again in a second anyway. So I had to, at that stage I was keeping my batteries for battery power, so I wanted to be cooking in daylight. All right, I didn't want to have to sit there and cook under a lamplight because I need the battery. I need to keep the batteries. So what I'd done is learnt how roughly what, and for me, if you want to know, and it depends on the size of your hand, but for me, if I do that and you put that up on the horizon like that, and you look at the horizon and the sun, how many of those, there to there, how many of those is 1 hour? So you can sit there and go 1, 2, and I didn't even have to do that after a while, I just sort of got to know sort of there. But if you go, so you almost sort of sit there going 1, 2, that's 2 hours. If the sun is that far, if the sun's up there and the horizon's there, well, the sun's about 2 hours off setting, right? So if you know what time the sun sets, then that's what time it is. If you don't know, but then you'll still know roughly how long you've got left in daylight, in daylight. So yeah, that's just an idea. Something I've learnt. I was told a whole handprint, but I don't have big hands, but that's too much. For me, it's that four fingers. Thick and dirty. The 4 fingers of fury. Where did I see that from? Oh, 166 kilometres. I reckon. I don't know if these signs are out. I don't know if these signs are out in the wrong place or whether my book's wrong, but they're not quite lining up. They're about 1 kilometre out now. They've been all right through until just about 3k's back, because I was looking for a camp spot, and I've got a funny feeling these are about 1 kilometre out now. I don't know. Now, going by the book, 266, unless they're back okay again, but back there when it was like 270, I reckon that was about 1 kilometre early. So I reckon, so if I'm right and they're out, the book says that 266 kilometres is actually 1 kilometre forward, roughly 1 kilometre forward. Just looking at how the river runs and what my book says, my map books. All right. So yeah, I'll finish off the Mildura thing. So I sat there and there's got a couple of stories from Mildura. I'm gonna do. Yeah, I'll finish off so I got some music on my phone, because like I said, I was checking the phone. I was checking the phone and seeing how far I'd gone for the day, because I like to keep an eye on that. No major interest in it. It's not like it's going to change anything. But, I'd like to see, I just anal about it, I'd just like to really see that if I sat there, just give me 2 seconds, I'm going to pause this and do something. That's a bit better. I've just been watching, I've got my 2 outriggers. I'll show you my setup in a sec. I've got my 2 outriggers, and one of them's higher than the other. And all I have to do is move a chair over, and my chair, and I'll show you that in a sec, and it evens it out. If I put the chair in the wrong spot, and out that side, because it was on that side that was high, so on the left-hand side, that was about an inch out of the water. Yeah, about half an inch out of the water, and that was right in about half an inch into the water. And usually both of them are just touching like they are now. So, and I don't think it's going to make much difference, but it's just, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. Alright, so yeah, you'd get to about 4 hours into the day. It's taking a while to explain this, isn't it? I've been on the river for 5 months. A lot's happened. A lot's happened. So I'm going to get distracted here and there. I'm not too worried. I just hope, if I'm going to put this online so I can keep it forever. I'll have it on Facebook, because I'm assuming Facebook will be around forever, or at least for a very long time. And I'll be able to keep it and watch it in the future. So I'd get to about, I'll just try and stay it on my phone. I just don't want to say, oh, there we go. That's it. So I'd get to like 4 hours into the day, right? So I sit there, 4 hours, I've done 20 Ks, that's 5 Ks an hour, that's not too bad, blah, 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 like this. But then, when I was getting to Mildura, I was looking at that and thinking, fuck, I've still got 8 hours to go. This is bullshit, this is fuck. And because, it's slow going, I'm doing anywhere between 3 kilometres an hour and 5 kilometres an hour on reasonably good day, without wind. There's not much current up this end, not much current at all. And pretty soon I'm going to have a lot of headwinds. So that's why I reckon I'll slow down. I should only have about 5 days to go. I should only have about 5 or 6 days to go, but I reckon I've got at least sort of 9 days. 30 kilometres at 266 is about 9 days roughly. Sort of 9 times 30, you know what I mean? So, I'm sure you do. So I'll look at it and go, fucking hell, man, I've still got 8 hours of this freaking bullshit to go. And that's the mindset I was in. 8 hours is fucking bullshit to go, And I've met a lot of nice people. I was lucky that I got a couple of distractions. Daniel, I wasn't in a really good mood when Daniel was here. Daniel Bennett, I sat there and I was paddling along the river near Swan Hill, and all of a sudden, bang, Canoe! Like this from the bank, and I looked across going, who is it? Like this, so I couldn't quite scooch around because my back's a little bit sore. I'm just a little bit stiff. There's nothing to do with my back. I'm just stiff because of just sleeping on the ground and sitting in his chair for several hours. And I'd seen him at, I think it was about 2 o'clock in the arvo. He'd called out. So you're looking at, sort of seven. So it's about 7 hours, about 7 or 8 hours in the canoe sitting down. So it's quite a tough gig. No, give me 2 seconds. I've got to. Sorry guys, I had to honk my horn. Dear. Yeah, so that was a really, really good distraction. I sat there and got a packet of smoke because one of the ladies that was there had to sit there and go into town for other people. She had to get beer. She had to get beer for other people. So yeah, get me a 6-pack and a packet of smokes. So yeah, that was pretty good. That was really good actually. Really, really good distraction. I had 24 hours off the river, so I stopped at about, close to 24. I stopped at about 2 o'clock in the arvo and had a bit of a chat, and then I sat there for about an hour and a half, and now I'm going, do you guys mind if I camp here with you? And they're going, yeah, of course you can. Don't be an idiot. So I was like, yeah, no. So I set up my camp, and sat down and had a few beers, and had a couple of smokes, and sat there, had a bet. So everything I hadn't done for 4 months, I've had a couple of beers over the time I've been on the river, but not a few beers, right? Not like I did that night. So yeah, so I basically got drunk, had a packet of smokes, and had a bet for the first time since I've been on the river. So Daniel Bennett's a very, very bad to say. Actually, I have to thank him too. I do have to thank him. Yeah. So I sit there and I was in pretty good very good spirits at that stage, very good spirits. But yeah, Mildura is probably about 300 kilometres down, so that's roughly about a week later that I was not in good spirits. I was not in good spirits at all. So yeah, I got the music on there, and I was waffling on about this, but this is a major thing, man, because I don't know whether I would have given up or not. I was freaking close. At that stage, it had been, could have been more than a week, because I know it was a couple of days worth. I was sitting there, and I had a day off. I took a day off, of paddling. I've taken a day off here and there. I have to wash my clothes and that. Sometimes I'll take a whole day off if I feel like it, or sometimes I'll just stop really early. And it's probably going to have to be days off now. So I don't think... Oh, it depends on the day. Because we're getting a lot more overcast days, so things don't dry as quick. Because I don't wash my clothes. I'm trying to be as clean as possible. I think I smell alright still. I sit there every now and I know it sounds disgusting, but I sit there every now and again and feel under my arms and it's actually not too bad. Like this is sort of just trying to smell me a little bit. And I'm doing alright. I'm doing okay. Excuse me. Got a little bit of the hiccups. Alright, so the guts of that part of the story is that music saved me this trip, I reckon. I reckon music really, really did. Honestly, I think I would have given up by now. Because it is really, even now, really slow going. And I'm paddling a little bit slower than I normally would be. Because one, I'm doing this. Right, you'll see me do that. I'll do a couple of paddles in there. Then I'll do that. That's shaking the water off so I don't get too much water on my phone. I don't normally do that. I'll show you my bucket. You can see how much water gets in there. Well, you'll see how much water falls off the paddle. You should have an idea. We've got some cockatiels trying to scare off off what's called a kite. It's a kite. They're called a whistling kite. I haven't heard any make the whistling sound for a while. Look it up. I'm not going to try and copy it. Whistling kite. They're like a hawk. They're like an eagle, right? So they're like a bird of prey. And they just soar around like an eagle, just soaring around, sort of looking for something to eat. Sometimes you can have 4 or 5 of them up in the air, and it sets the cockatiels and the cockatoos off, man. They go nuts. They absolutely go nuts. Actually, the cockatoos, they just fly around and crack it a bit. Although having said that, they're camped right next. I can just see a couple of the major nests. So the cockatiels are right next to the bloody eagle's nest, the kite's nest. Feels weird saying kite. That's a kid's toy. But these are a bird of prey. Like, these are like an eagle, you know. So they're camped right next to this kite's nest. Because I can see it in the trees. And they get these nests get quite big too. These nests get quite big, their nests. I don't know, they must just keep adding to it. Because every now and again I see one flying over with a stick in its mouth to keep adding to it, even though it looks like it's a full-size nest. Like, it's hard to tell up in the top of the trees. But they look about at least a foot deep, right? About, it's probably about 2 feet wide, 1.5 foot wide, 2 foot wide, but about a foot deep, right? About a foot deep into the branch, up over the branch, or even, they get that big that they actually squash through the branch a little bit too. And I've seen one that looked like, without trying to exaggerate, it looked like it was about 4 feet deep. It looked like it was about 4 feet. So they just keep adding it and adding sticks to it. So I don't know if it's to maybe keep the top half clean, because maybe the bottom half gets, they keep putting fresh sticks in there because, they're probably shitting there and all that sort of stuff. And obviously dead animals and dead food and blood and guts and whatever. So, when they're feeding their babies and that, or when they're eating themselves. So maybe that's the reason, I don't know. But it does get really, actually it looks like there's a green post here. I'm going to show you what those green posts mean. We're coming up to them soon. Yes. Oh, that means I've got to be on that side. Alright. Oh, I just told you what that means. But I'll show you. Actually, I'll point this forward a bit. I'll keep talking for a bit and then I'll point it forward. Because we're not really close enough to see it yet. And then you can watch me paddle down. Now, I sit there and, actually, what should I do next? Alright, so I got to Mildura, I got my music, so everything's all sweet now. I've only got 266 kilometres to go, so about 265.5 kilometres to go now. I keep myself clean. I sit there. I don't know what these marks are. I'm not going to get too close to that side because there's campers there. They might have fishing line in there. But there's a big blue. It looks like a I've got to look it up. I've got to try and remember to look it up in when I get to, because my next town is Swan Reach. I've got to do some shopping there, get some more food. But it's a sign that looks like the Scottish flag. It's just a blue sign with a white cross going across it, right, on the angle. All those people up. I reckon people are just, I don't know, I don't think people own these properties. I was trying to find a place to sleep last night when I was trying, like finishing off for the day. And people have got private property, but going by the map, that's not private property, and they're not permanent shelters. They're just caravans and stuff like that, and people just put private property so they don't encroach on it. So I reckon they've just up. Although this, and they've got this one, maybe it is private property. Maybe this end is, because they've actually got like a full-on proper, like almost, or I don't think it is, but it almost looks like a shipping container. It's got, in fact, it does look like it's a shipping container. I reckon it is. A shipping container done up as a house. Right, it doesn't look like it's got any windows on it, but it's got a veranda around it. It's definitely a shipping container. I can see the lugs on it where they join them up. And there's a house right at the very back. So maybe they do own that one. That looks like a proper house. Like a small one, but a proper one. But yeah, this mark is called a skipper's mark. So obviously, the skipper of a boat. It's called a skipper's mark. And it even has that in white writing at the very bottom. Very small letters, skipper's mark. But I don't know what that means. I don't know what it means. I don't think on the river I probably should know what it means. So we're paddling down. Maybe they do own this, because they've got sprinklers and everything. They've got like a full-on sprinkler systems, and like lawned grass. A lot of the places obviously being in the bush, it's just dirt and twigs and leaves, and you know what a bush dirt looks like, bush floor looks like. All right. How charged am I? Oh, 100%. Beautiful. I can record for a little while. I'm going to point this forward so you can see these green signs. I'm not going to show you the skipper's mark. I have to get too close to that side, and I've got to go around this. I've got to be on this side of the river. I'm actually supposed to be floating. I'm supposed to be on the right-hand side of the river anyway. When you're on the Murray River, it's not like driving. Driving, you're on the left. Here, you're on the right. So obviously, when they're coming up the other way, they have to be on the right-hand side, which is that side. When they're coming up river. Now, these signs are going to sound confusing, but it's the opposite way around. All right. Now, they sit there, and if you've got the green triangle, you have to be going downriver. You have to be on the right-hand side of the river, right? If you've got a red square, and I'll show you, if you've got a red square, then you have to be on the left-hand side of the river, right? And the way I remember it is the red is on my, because I'm going downriver, the red is on my right, right? So that's the way I remember it, because sometimes for that sort of detail I get confused. I've got a reasonably good memory sometimes, most times, but when there's something I've got to remember, it's one or the other. When it's one or the other, I'm a shocker for that sort of stuff sometimes. So I'll spin this camera now, we're getting close enough. Alright, I'm going to sit it up. Just bear with me for a sec, because now I'll show you. I've got this, so what I do is I put it in the end here so you can actually see forward. So that's my thing. Actually, quickly while I'm here, while I've got your end this way. I might do that in another video. I might do that in the next video when I start talking. Alright, there we go. And that holds it up perfectly. Alright, let's start spinning around. You're gonna see that every now and again. And that's just my paddle going over the top. Actually, we've got a skipper's mark over here, I'll be able to show you. Because they are usually on both sides of the river. And they point in both directions. So it's obviously something important. So I've got no idea. We're roughly 265 k's away, so I wouldn't have thought it would be I wouldn't have thought it would be what do you call it? A distance thing. I wouldn't have thought it'd be a distance thing, like an old one. Because this one over the other side, he actually looks quite new. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get over in time, because I've got to show you the green marker as well. Just give me 2 seconds. I've got to blow my nose again. I've got to honk. I've got to honk my horn. I sound like a boat. Actually, they're all lined up together. Right, so these green triangles, and you should be able to see them above over the top of my thing. I might lean it back a bit. Oh, it doesn't make any difference. I should get it up a little bit higher. It should be right. You should be able to see it. Alright, so that's those green triangles, which you should be able to see on the poles right in front of me. There's a few of them there. That means I've got to go, and you can see the green, you can see, these are good ones actually, because I've got the yellow sign. So I've got to be on that side. Right, so anyone that comes down, the green ones on the other side will have arrows pointing the same way, pointing to. Oh, is that rain? I think we're getting rain. I can't feel it on my hand, but I can see it on the water. Let's point back to the sign. So you can see the yellow. I'll get quite close to it. I'm in a canoe. I should be right. You shouldn't get too close. I mean, you can. That should be well past anything that there, because obviously there's something in the water that you have to go around. And I think, oh no, that's off the actual. Oh no, is that off the sign or is that off the? Let me just get. No, that's off the sign. That's off the sign. All right, so you got these posts here. You can see. I can see it now. So you can see the yellow. Oh no, I can see the thing, but it's in line with that houseboat that's up the end, the pole. I'll try and swing round this skipper's mark as well. I don't know what it means. I'll check it out when I get to Swan Reach. But that thing there, so anything you see green, if you see that green triangle, and I reckon they do triangles and squares for colour blindness, because the squares are red and the triangles are green. All right, so let's say, I'm not going to get round for this skipper's mark. I should have. So you can see the triangle there. Right, so I have to be on this side of the river now. Let's see if I can get over to this skipper's mark. Now I'm going to have to point this way for a bit so I can go against the current a little bit. And I can go against the current here. It's actually, it's not too bad, but I can paddle against the current here. It still wants to push me down, but I can paddle against the current. So let's get across here and I'll show you these signs and that'll close this video off. I'll show you stuff as I'm paddling down the river. These videos are going to be long enough as it is. You'll be able to see. And I have them on each side of a tree so that you can actually, this is new. This does look like it's a new one. Actually it is, because I don't have the writing at the top. So I'll get close enough so you can actually read it. I'll try to anyway. I can get pretty close to this side of the bank, I think. I don't like getting too close to the bank, even though I'm in a boat. So you can actually read it. There it is. You should be able to see the cross. As you can see, the river's still pushing me down. And I'll try. So they don't normally have, these are brand new ones. These are actually quite new. They don't look like they've been, oh shit, I've got snags. This is why I don't like getting too close. This is really why I don't like getting too close. I don't think you could say it on the thing, but I wasn't concentrating. It's not too bad. Hopefully I should get out. I'll get out of it. Yeah, so you saw that. Skipper's mark and the Murray bit up the top. No, that's the first time I've seen that. So they're brand new ones. That's the first time I've seen Murray on there. And there's quite a lot of them throughout the river. And I mean, I've never really sort of marked them on the map so I can sit there. And sometimes they actually say, in the map they say skipper's mark. So they tell you where those skipper's marks are, but I just don't know what it means, so I'm going to look it up. I'll look it up and try and let you know. If I remember to. If I don't, look it up. Skipper's mark, Murray River signs, and so there you go. Alright. One thing I actually do have to do is thank my sister as well. She's helped me out, so I will thank her as well, definitely. Yeah, it's good, very good. All right, I'm going to stop this video, and I will start straight away because I think I'm going to be happy with this video. I want to do them all in one take. I'm not going to sit there and keep deleting them, starting them again. All good. All right, I'll be back straight away. I might keep I'll be back. Oh, one thing with these videos too, I'm going to number them in order, right? So you know what order to try and watch them in. So you know what order to try and watch them in, so that, you know, because I'm going to talk about, you know, the actual trip itself, and then I'm going to start going through what I've done on the trip, right? So people probably aren't going to want to watch that too much. They're just going to want to know. I think most people are going to want to know how I lived, what I did, how I'm paddling down, all that sort of stuff. So I've got a couple of photos. I did do these videos originally, but like I said, I had to do a factory reset because I got caught by the Rangers, and I'll go through that in a sec. Alright, I'll be back soon. Thank you.